Welcome to today's Four Piece Podcast. It is now the holiday season. It's Christmas time, it's Hanukkah. It is a time of joy. It is also a time of not having money and stress. And we stress out because we have to, we gotta do a lot of stuff, man. We gotta buy gifts for Johnny. We gotta buy gifts for Susie. Then we gotta buy just gifts for your mom, your friends at work, and all that other stuff. And you know what? All year long, we're talking about affordability today, and all year long, you've been wondering how to just finally pay your rent and how to pay your light bill, and most importantly, how to get groceries and gas so you can, fuel your car and fuel yourself. And so as a result, sometimes you bring out old credit card and then now next year going into 2026, now you're even in more debt, in even more debt. And as a result, now you're stressing out even more and they're saying Happy New Year. And you're like, man, screw this new year. I'm tired of it. So today I have a returning guest. His name is Bill Haase. He is the author of this book, the one that you can't barely see, but there you go. Now you can see it. It's Our Mindset on Money. It's easy to control. So why don't we? It is a great book that's out. Bill Haase is a very dear friend of mine. I know he's a Cubs fan, but we're gonna have to, look past that. But we'll be back. When we come back, we will have Bill Haase, and we will be talking about money. We'll be talking about ways that you control it. Don't have it control you. We'll be right back right after this.
The 4 Ps of You, Expanded Edition by Trunnis Goggins, is a powerful guide to personal growth built on 4 foundational principles: purpose, planning, passion, and persistence. In this expanded edition, Goggins shares real stories of trials and tribulations, his own and those of others, to inspire readers to reflect, reset, and rise. With added insights and practical exercises, this book empowers you to navigate life's challenges, unlock your potential, and live with greater intention and impact. The 4 Ps of You is available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and worldwide wherever books are sold.
Welcome back to the Four Piece Podcast. Today I have a returning guest. I rarely have returning guests because no one wants to come back. And I don't know what's going on here, but Bill Haase has come back. He is a friend of mine. We have been on book tours together. We've signed books in Chicago. We've actually signed books in 2 different countries. This is the only person I've ever done that in 2 different countries. So we did Toronto. We did Chicago back in September. He has a fantastic book out. I have it right here. It's Our Mindset on Money. It's easy to control, so why don't we? And today we're going to be talking about something that's in the news. Usually I do not talk about stuff that's in the news, but this is something that we need to talk about because, it's about affordability. We've had, and the political thing you can watch if you watch CNN, you're going to hear one way about affordability. If you watch Fox, you're going to hear another. If you watch MSNBC, you're going to hear another. But the real truth is actually an Onion. So if you read Onion, that's where the truth of all the news is, right? So there you go. Bill, welcome to the program. Thank you for coming back.
Well, thanks for having me back. I love being with you and enjoying our time and conversations, and I'm hoping this time I might get paid.
Absolutely. There you go. There you go. But we're talking about affordability. I can't afford it. I'm joking. Well, again, welcome to the program. Your book on money is about the intentional use of money. Whereas, and a lot of people, when we talk about affordability, a lot of people right now are living paycheck to paycheck. We're worried about so many things. There's so many things that are coming up. We're affected by, tariffs, the cost of gas, the, bird flu, all these other things, and you kind of have a different approach to it. Go ahead and explain.
Well, I love to ask the question, do you live your life with intent or by default? Mm-hmm. And the purpose of that is knowing that 90+% of us live financially by default, meaning we have no control over our spending. Mm-hmm. And we have our fixed costs, our variable costs, and then we have, the disposable funds that are left over, right? The incidentals. And that's where we really need to gain our control. Because there are so many things going on. Look, natural gas, I just heard this morning, is up 15 to 56%, depending upon what part of the country you're in. That's huge,
Yeah.
huge. And that's coming right out of your pocket. And we don't account for these things, right? So if you don't account for those things in your budget and in your mindset with money, that's where you wind up at the end of the month saying, what happened to all my money?
Yeah.
And you continue to live paycheck to paycheck, and sometimes you start going underwater. Eventually you start going underwater. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, which about 80% of us do in this country, you wind up drowning because you don't account for all these cost increases. And you bring up affordability, and I'm not going to pick sides on the definition of affordability, because it doesn't matter what side you're on. Everybody in this country knows prices are higher
Right.
on just about everything. One of the things I get really steamed about is the fact that I truly believe that our own corporate America is price gouging us. They've taken the excuse of these tariffs, which I have yet to hear anybody on TV describe what a tariff really does and what it's for, and the purposes of putting it in place. I can tell you on one side it's doing a lot of good things, and on other sides it's not doing good things.
Right.
So they're good and bad, but they're mostly a negotiating tool. And we have these expectations in this country that, and probably around the world, we like things fixed fast.
Absolutely.
We like them fixed overnight, and you can't fix things like a bad economy overnight. It takes time, and it takes patience, and you have to allow things to work, and things that you put in place to try and rein the economy back in so that we can live a little bit better lives. This morning I paid the cheapest amount for gas that I've paid in I don't know how many years.
Yeah.
So I was very thrilled about that. Now I had to go out of state to do it, but I was in Wisconsin and I live in Illinois, so it's way cheaper in Wisconsin.
Right.
But and that's how it is throughout the different parts of the country. But we don't pay attention to this stuff. We pay attention to the gas at the pump, and we complain about it, but we still got to fill our tanks.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the money's gone whether you like it or not, and you have to account for these things. Most people just don't, and so like I say, it's easy to control. So why don't we? It really should say, so why don't you? Because it's up to you and how you spend your money. And if you learn how you spend your money and what draws you to pull your money out of your pocket, or what forces you to do these buy now, pay later loans, or these Cash App wage advance loans, which are both horrendously bad. They're not even legal in many, many countries around the world. But we get into those, and then we get deeper and deeper into trouble.
Absolutely.
Classic example, there's a commercial where the husband and wife are in the kitchen, the wife's sitting at the table paying the bills saying, we're short this month. And the husband's like, no worries. We'll get on Cash App or whatever the app is, and we'll just borrow the money and we'll pay off the bills. And, we all feel good when we can pay off our bills each month. But now they've borrowed the money to pay off their bills for this month, and next month, how are they going to pay off their bills?
Absolutely.
And now they have another bill.
And the worst thing about it is a lot of those companies, they gouge you as far as interest. I mean, they have,
huge.
and I'm not talking like 20%, 30% interest.
No.
In some cases, it's 300% interest.
Even as much as 600% interest.
And so you borrow $300 to make sure your shortfall is taken care of for this month. But I'm just using $300. I know it's a lot more, but they borrow $300, but that $300 will easily become $1,500, $1,600, $1,800 when everything's said and done.
Keep in mind, $300 is a good price point, I think, of borrowing, because that tells you who they're targeting. They're targeting you folks who live paycheck to paycheck and don't have a lot of money, and so $300 might mean a lot more to you than somebody who isn't living paycheck to paycheck, and which means it can cause more harm. And so that target market is for that lower end folks that don't have a lot of income.
Absolutely. So now we have somebody listening right now. I know we do. We have somebody listening to this podcast right now that are like, okay, you guys are saying everything that I already know. All right.
Yep.
Everything I already know. I know I'm borrowing money. I know I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I know that, the price of everything is high. Okay. So Bill, what am I going to do about it? So
Yeah,
what can they do about it?
really good point. Yeah, we're already doing it, and what I'm trying to say is stop. Stop doing it. That's not the answer. The answer isn't, oh, all I got to do is make more money. The answer is you have to learn to control the money you do have,
Mm-hmm.
and which means you have to control your spending habits. And the best way to do it is the way most people hate to do it, and that is you have to write up a budget. You have to write down where your money goes each month, right? Not because you need to have that budget in place, but it's more to tell you where your mindset is. Where does that money go? The incidentals that you have left over after paying your bills, where does that money go? And when you see where it goes, you'll start to question, why am I spending that much money on that product or that service or
Mm-hmm.
going to Starbucks or something along those lines. And when you start questioning why you're doing that, you're going to start questioning more of your expenses and more of your spending, and you're going to gain much, much better control by doing that.
It's funny that you bring that up. I just a couple days ago, I was looking I was looking at a statement that came in from one of my online statement for the bank. I was going to tell you that in a second. I'm getting old, and so I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm like, "What in the hell is this $21.99
Yeah,
that just gets taken out of my account?" I did. I was looking at it, and then I go back and I look. This is the first time I look. I go back and I'm looking at this 21.99, and it went back about 8 months.
yeah,
Okay. And I look at it, and I'll tell you what I mean, it was Netflix. Okay.
okay,
Or something. It was one of those streaming services that are 21.99. It may not have been Netflix, and I don't want Netflix to
right,
sue me when I
right.
say that. But it was one of these streaming services. And I'm like, I don't ever remember agreeing paying $22 a month for a streaming service. So I stopped it. Okay. I just said, I'm not doing this anymore. Okay. But the thing is what happened was, as I went back a couple of further months, I mean, I pulled up my statements. I'm now upset that I've now spent more money than I would ever spend on a streaming service. What ended up, or app, whatever, it was a TV thing,
Yeah,
whatever it was. So what happened was, I agreed to purchase this service 6 years ago at $5.99,
mm-hmm.
and it went $5.99. It started out 6 years ago. It was the first time I did it. It went $5.99, and then all of a sudden, somewhere down the line, it went $9.99. Somewhere down the line, it went $15.99, and then
Yep.
here I am at $21.99. So what happens? We get used to the service, and that service more than tripled. And you're not paying attention to it because you're just used to turning on the television, or listening to some service on your phone or something like that. You're not paying attention to it because it's just there.
We do that with so many things: electricity,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
gas, not just car gas, but gas for your heaters and such in your home. There are so many things. Groceries, I don't understand. How are farmers starving and yet groceries are much higher in costs?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't farmers be doing better off if they were supposedly making more money because they're charging more?
Absolutely.
I, it,
Right.
there's just a number of things like that I just don't understand, other than the fact that I believe it is price gouging. I believe corporate America has taken advantage of situations and price gouging their own people.
Yeah, and I will say that that's one of the things. The other thing is when you talk about controlling your own money, a lot of times, because we have, automatic withdrawal, automatic deposit, all these other things, bill pay, all those things, we don't have to worry about anything. Just when we just
Mm,
pull up our phone and just say, "Hey, here's the money that's in our account. Oh, I have enough money now to go to McDonald's. I'm good to go." And I think that one of the ways, and I mean, one of the ways that I found out this week that I'm going to take more control of my money is, every single month I'm going to watch everything I'm doing. and things are going to get cut and things are not, or even more than that. I'm going to be more mindful of what's being taken out of the account.
Well, and most people don't like to do that. And
Hmm.
and so I say, okay, don't feel like verbatim every month over and over and over again. I mean, you'll start to understand your
Hmm.
habits and you'll start to make corrections because you'll question those habits and it will come more and more naturally as you go along. But yeah, I don't do any auto pays.
Okay.
Zero. I want to know what every bill is that's coming at me. So I have zero auto pays. I don't care if I get a discount for auto pay because it does allow them to raise prices without you even knowing it or recognizing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
So
by the time you
I
know.
don't do
Mhm.
that. That's me. Everybody make your own choice.
You know, Yeah, and I think that you're right. I think that you brought up a good point. I don't think I'm going to do auto pay anymore. Not after that. After looking at my statement and just like losing my mind after that. You know what I mean? It's like, what are they doing? You know, Bill, I get an email from you other than the emails are like, hey, what are you doing? But I get emails from you every so often that give great advice. What's the name? And I know the name of it already. What is your weekly your email
It's a
that you send
monthly
out?
report, and it's
Hmm.
called Garage Talks with Bill Haase. And you can go to my website, and the easiest way is billhaase.com to keep it simple. But it'll reroute you to my website, and you can sign up for that. And yeah, what I try to do is I pick on one aspect of finance, and I try to tell a story about it, so how it
Hmm.
affects you in your life. And this is kind of why affordability is a great conversation because the next report will be coming out next week, and it is going to be on this topic. And am I pushing the envelope a little bit by saying corporate America is gouging us? You bet. I'm putting myself out there on that one, but
Well,
it's not really hard to figure out.
yeah, I was going to say it's not. I mean, you're not lying. You're not slandering corporate
No,
America.
I'm not saying
So
which companies are doing what,
no,
but I can say that if a company isn't doing it, I'd be surprised.
exactly. Now, the other
It's
thing I
just too
wanted
common.
to and I want to say this to everybody that is here on this podcast right now. Bill, when people sit there and hear people who are in finance, and if you look at Bill's resume, it is extensive. He is really knows what he's talking about when he's talking about money. But the other thing, so what happens is people who are living paycheck to paycheck says, what does Bill know? All right. One thing I do want to say is Bill does know. If you read his book and you read what he went through, Bill has gone through everything that you living paycheck to paycheck has gone through. But the thing is he, and but so and the reason why I'm bringing this up is, you're listening to us, Bill and I talk, and you're probably thinking it's easy for them to say. I'm going to tell you, both Bill and I, we have been in the valley and we've been in the mountaintop. And you know what we're doing? We're struggling to make sure we don't take our ass right back in the valley. Okay. Just like everybody else. So when you hear Bill is not talking about something he read in a book. Bill is talking about something that he's lived and he's gone through, and he goes through it every day, just like you and I. So I just want you to know that he is not one of these guys that get on TV and give you like the easy solution to everything. And he's definitely not the guy where you're cutting up your credit card and ringing a bell and all that other crap. He is actually telling you, and I don't mean to, everybody knows who I'm talking about, but I mean, he does a great job. I'm not trying to say he doesn't, but still on the same note, he is very practical in his approach to money, and he understands that there's certain things that you have to do. But one thing that he is all about is controlling, making sure that you take control of your money, because it's everybody else tries to take control of your money.
Yeah, I don't care how much of an expert you are, you're going to get caught at some point. Life happens, and
Hmm.
and and that's the part that hurts us the most. Especially in retirement. Life happens, and usually that's a medical issue,
Hmm.
a health concern. But life happens to all of us. And look, I've been in finance 40 years, and I put stories in my book that say, look, even I've made big mistakes.
Hmm.
You know, I hit the perfect storm back in 2005 to 2008, where I was riding high and I built a home from scratch, and which is the most expensive way to do it, and only to lose my career of 20 years right after I built it, and then walked into the housing bubble
Mm-hmm.
and lost 60+% of value of my home in just a couple of years.
Yeah.
So I lost my home. So you're right. I have plenty of experiences. I did my own podcast show the other day with the gentleman, and we discussed how the con job, how we had both had experiences being conned out of a great deal of money, 6 figures.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you, there's probably a lot of people out there that think I'm a millionaire or multimillionaire, and I got to tell you, never been, not even close. But
Absolutely.
as a financial advisor, I got tired of speaking with people and them not understanding. And I couldn't find a way to get them to understand, because they'd always say, yeah, I get it. And I'm sitting there going, I know you don't. And so, as I've mentioned to you, the good Lord called to me and said, stop this madness. I need you to serve me, and I need you to go out, and I need you to teach people really how to understand money and take control, and not buy all those things that instantaneously. I talk about, you go to a store when you have no money in your pocket, and you look at everything, and everything looks great. You want everything. Go
Mm-hmm.
back 2 weeks later when you're flush with cash, nothing looks all that good anymore.
Mm-mm.
Try that. I promise you, try that. Yeah, I've had that
Absolutely.
experience. It's changed my spending habits.
I will say this though: the only thing that would look good is if a Nissan Z comes up. Then that will still look good no matter how much money's in my pocket. I will have to get it. That is that is definitely something I got to do.
Everybody's plan is to win the lottery, right? That's the ultimate
Exactly.
retirement plan. And good luck with that, because I'm going to tell you something. Even if you do win it, I'll bet you half that money that you won't have any of it in 5 years.
You know what? And I agree. I believe that. I believe that. I remember I did some work for a football team, an NFL team, probably about 8, 9 years ago, and that was one of the things we talked about. I talked to some rookies that were coming in, and I said, hey, if you do not do the right thing, and this money will be gone just as quick as you got it. And you do not want to waste your career. There are so many people, entertainers, there are so many people get money real quick and they lose it even faster. And it's very sad. It is
Yeah, I
extremely
was a
sad.
member of the NFL Alumni Association here in Illinois, working with Des Clark, the old tight end for the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
And that was our sole purpose, was to go in and help all these alumni folks. And the problem was they were already all broke. All of them.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That
They
is
would
so
come to
true.
the quarterly dinners, and we would have bigger stacks of to-go containers than we would plates, because they would fill up 10 to-go containers and bring them out to their car, then come in and grab a plate and sit down and eat.
Wow. That's
I'm not kidding
sad.
you.
No, I believe it. I totally believe it.
There's just many different ways of trying to help and figure out how to help people just get a better grip, because once all of a sudden that money isn't the thing you worry about day in and day out every day of the rest of your life and your whole life, once you figure out how to get past that, life changes dramatically to
Absolutely.
the better. And here's what we spend money on, and why we spend our money, I should say. We spend our money for 2 reasons: status and perspective.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be perceived to have a higher status than we actually are, whether it's smarter or wealthier. And so we'll waste money on a bigger house in a better area, fancier car, jewelry, clothes, everything to make us. We'll go into debt. We'll go broke trying to make ourselves look better.
Mm-hmm. I tell people
You talk to that person that's sitting across from you that looks fancy and dresses well, and you think, man, they got it all going on. And I guarantee you, many of those inside are burning up because they're broke.
Absolutely. I used to tell people a lot, you're spending money to impress people that don't like you anyway.
Yeah.
And
Once you
it's
get past that,
yeah.
once you get past that, I don't care what somebody thinks of me or my status. I'm just taking care of me and mine.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then life changes when you get
Sure
past
does. It sure does. Yep. Bill, thank you a lot for being on the program. Again, even though he's had the book over his corner the whole time and that beautiful poster of his, I have it right here again. It's our mindset on money. It's easy to control, so why don't we? You can also catch him on his own podcast. It's a very good podcast, by the way. And if you can, send me your email address and I will send it to Bill. He's not going to send you anything stupid, I promise you.
No.
You definitely want to be a part of that newsletter. You want to be a part of his
Month to
monthly
month.
report. It's month to month, and it's something that you can read, and it's something that really gives you a different mindset on money. And again, like I said, that is one of the only things. It's funny how a piece of paper or a piece of plastic, however you look at it, controls everything you do. And he's telling you Bill is telling you, hey, you can take control of it. Trust me. And he gives you the inside scoop.
The podcast comes out starting in January, probably around the middle of January. I'm stacking some shows right now, and so they'll come out about the middle of January. And the Garage Talks with Bill Haase report that goes out once a month. It's not a sales pitch.
No.
I'm just putting information out there to try and help people get a grip on their finances so they can live a better life.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Bill. We'll be right back right after this.
Hey crew, I'm just down at Phillip Island checking out some of the GP bikes and going through some teams. Come across this young fella, showing him the rocket fuel. What does he do?
Always went out of my bag.
Jesus.
I love it. It's good stuff.
How long have you been using it, brother?
Oh, a couple of years now. 2 years I've been using it.
I just heard the story of his first time use. You've got to listen.
So the first time I used it, I was in a bit of a rush trying to get to the gym. Quickly go to the bottom, I just seen 4. So I just grabbed 4 of the full droppers I took. Instead of 4 drops, 4 full droppers. And my head nearly exploded. I thought I was going to die, but then when it came good, put $1 million. I just need the body to equalise for about 5 minutes.
Here we are, looking in with the team, what comes out of his bag.
Well, let me try it. I'm up. What's up? Yeah, good. Can I see it, mate? Where's it hot? Tastes alright. Careful, there's little kids. It's good for it. Feel better now. Yeah, really.
You love it.
Good, yeah, love it. I really do love it. It's good product.
Let's go.
Welcome back to this this is the final edition of the 2025, the final live 2025 4-piece podcast. I'd like to thank Bill for being on the program. Again, like I said, he's a returning guest. He has a lot of good things to say about money, and we should make sure that we stop living paycheck to paycheck and take control of your money. Please take control of your money. I've recorded Bill to be my first podcast episode of 2026. I actually had somebody who was supposed to be on here today for the last podcast episode of 20. I will have him on the podcast in the future. He is from Australia. And as everybody knows, there was a tragic event. It was an act of terrorism, a crime against humanity. There's no other way to put it. There was a terrorist attack on Bondi Beach, and that's in Sydney, Australia. A father and son, believe it or not. This is what they call bonding, I guess. This father and son attacked a Hanukkah celebration on Bondi Beach. It was an act of terror that like I said, there's no place for it in society. I don't care what society you're in. There is absolutely no place for terrorism at all. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what you think. There is no way to justify an act of terrorism. That's all there is to it. I don't care. That is not even up for debate. Terrorism is inhumane. It's not what needs to happen on the planet Earth. That's all there is to it. With that being said, I do want to say that I affectionately call Australia my second home. I do know that the day I woke up to the news of this tragic event, I was immediately sending messages and text messages and phone calls to all of my friends in Australia. A lot of them, I want to say friends and family, because a lot of people in Australia, they're more than just friends. I have a common bond with them, and they are, to me, I consider them family. I consider them brothers and sisters. And as a matter of fact, if you've every podcast episode I've had since we've gone live, right over my shoulder, you see the Australian flag. It sits right over my shoulder, right with the Canadian and the American flag. I love all three countries. I mean, I'm a proud American. I will always be an American. I wore the cloth of this country, but Australia holds a very special place in my heart. And right now, I just want to say, I want to give my condolences to all those who have lost lives in the Bondi Beach terrorist attack. And for those who are in the hospital right now, I really, really pray for a quick recovery. It is a shame that it happened during the holiday season, and you know the the people who committed this act. If there are any others that helped them commit this act, I hope they are caught. I hope they are captured, and I hope they are brought to justice. This is the last um, podcast that I have for 2025 that will be live. The next podcast you'll have will be a best of. I have some clips from some really good interviews that we had over 2025. It was a very interesting year. I love the changes that have been done. Nicole Parisi, thank you very much for being a part of this podcast. I also want to add a new person to our podcast staff. Believe it, we're growing. Stephanie Webster, aka Mrs. McAfoose. I want to welcome you to the program and welcome you to be a part of the Four Ps family. You'll be seeing a lot of changes in 2026. I hope I'll be seeing a lot of you in 2026. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, comment, all these other things. We're going to have contests and everything else this year coming up in 2026 to really get you guys involved. I really want to get my audience more involved. You guys are a part of this. You are my purpose. You really are. Thank you so much for having such a great 2025. 2026 is going to be far better. And like I said, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. Again, to those at Bondi Beach, please, please, please recover. It's going to take a long time for you to heal. It really is. It really is. And when I am there in March, I cannot wait to go to the beach and be there with you all. Talk to you guys next week. I will be sort of live, but everybody else on the podcast will just be, this will be a reminiscent of 2026. Talk to you soon, or 2025. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.